The sky above Earth changed that day. 12 massive ships appeared without warning, dark and silent, blocking out the sun over major cities. They didn't speak. They didn't send a signal. They only hovered, watching. These were not human ships. They belonged to the Xiari Empire, a powerful alien race that had conquered over 200 worlds. They believed Earth would be their next easy target, their leader. Commander Vexar looked at the blue planet from the bridge of his warship. Primitive, he said, looking at the data on his screen. No planetary shield. No active defense fleet. The humans won't even see it coming. He wasn't wrong. On Earth, people stood frozen, watching the sky. Military forces scrambled. Fighters launched, but they never got close. The Xiari ships had a gravity field around them. Nothing could touch them. The world panicked. News channels went wild. Social media exploded. But there was no response from Earth's governments. No attack. No surrender. Just silence. Vexar didn't care. He had done this before, many times. His orders were clear. Land troops. Take. Control. Capture leaders. The usual. He gave the command. Deploy the landers. From each of the 12 ships, smaller crafts dropped toward the surface. They carried soldiers, drones, and scanners. Their mission: take Earth by force. But something strange happened as the drop pods entered the atmosphere. They vanished. Not exploded. Not shot down. Just gone. Vexar blinked. Where did they go? No answer. He tried again. This time, he sent only one lander. It passed through the clouds and vanished just like the rest. Then a voice echoed. Across the Xiari fleet. Wasn't loud, but it cut through every ship. Every console, every channel, it said. Leave now, or be remembered as the first to fall. The voice was calm, not angry, not afraid. Just certain, Vexar shouted. Where is it coming from? Trace it. Technicians worked fast, but nothing made sense. The signal came from everywhere and nowhere. From the air, the ground. Even from inside their own ships. Suddenly, one of the Xiari ships, Ship 07 exploded. No warning. No beam. Just instant destruction. Like it had been crushed from inside, Vexar stood frozen. How? His second in command, Lurak, whispered, Sir, we didn't detect any weapon. All ships pulled back, rising higher. Their confidence was gone. What was supposed to be an easy win now felt like a trap. Down below, Earth remained silent. No missile launch. No movement. Just stillness. But far below the surface, deep inside the Earth, something ancient had awakened. A long dormant system called the Silent Protocol had come online. It was not human, not alien. It was something older built for one purpose: to protect Earth if it was ever attacked again. And now, it had detected a threat. Vexar held a meeting with his captains. His face was tight with anger, but his eyes showed fear. This is not possible, he said. This world has no space fleet, no weapons strong enough to destroy our ships. What did we miss? No one answered. Then one of the ships picked up a weak signal from Earth. It was encrypted, strange, very, very old. It used an ancient, galactic language, one not spoken for over 1,000 years. The message simply said, Phase 1 complete. Observation ending. Defense begins. Back on Earth, a group of satellites long thought to be an active turned toward the sky. Each of them locked onto a Xiari ship. Each of them started charging in orbit. Alarms rang through the alien fleet. Power surges, heat spikes, unknown frequencies. The ships began to shut down one by one. Shields dropping, energy grid failing, EMP burst incoming. The Xiari had no idea what hit them. One of their smaller cruisers fell into the atmosphere, burning as it fell. It smashed into the ocean. Gone Commander Vexar gave the order to retreat, but it was already too late. Earth was not weak. Earth had not been sleeping. Earth had been watching, and now Earth was responding. The Xiari Empire believed in data, For years, they had watched Earth from afar, using probes, listening to human signals, reading satellite traffic. To them, Earth looked weak, divided, primitive. The reports showed no space fleet, no major energy weapons, no signs of galactic technology. Just small nations, slow science, and endless human arguments. Commander Vexar trusted that data. But now, with 2 ships gone and their systems under attack, he realized something was wrong. Very wrong. The aliens tried again to scan Earth. They sent deep radar pulses, full-spectrum sensors, and planetary probes. What they found confused them. There were strange gaps in their scans. Entire zones on Earth were invisible, like someone was jamming them. Some places looked empty. Others showed impossible heat signatures, buried deep underground. Even the oceans hid something. Massive energy readings pulsed from under the seabed. Vexar frowned. This should not be possible, he growled. This world has no cloaking tech. But Earth was hiding something, and it wasn't just new, it was old. Then, one of the scout teams managed to land in a remote desert. It was a risky move. They dropped in low, under the jamming signals, and set up a small base. 10 soldiers. 2 drones. 1 scientist. Hours passed with no contact from Earth. They believed it was safe. But during the night cycle, something approached them. Not a drone. Not a tank. Not even a soldier, it was. A human. He walked slowly, calmly through the sand. No armor, no gun. Just a black device in his hands. Square/square. And glowing softly, the Zyari raised their weapons, shouting in their harsh language. Stop. Drop the device. The human didn't stop, just looked at them and smiled. Then he pressed the device once, and everything changed. The Zyari weapons shut down. Their drones fell from the sky. The sand under their feet started to vibrate. One by one, their systems blinked off. No power, no signal, no escape. The human walked past them like they were statues. No one could move. He reached their command center, placed the device on the table, and tapped it again. A small hologram appeared. It showed the 12 Zyari ships in orbit. One by one, the ships began to shut down. But it wasn't just sabotage. The hologram showed access codes, deep security keys. The kind only Zyari war leaders knew. Commander. Vexar watched in horror as one of his own ships powered down from the inside. How does he have those codes? He whispered. Back on the surface, the human spoke his first words. He said, you should not have come. Then he vanished. Not walked away, vanished, like he was never there. The scout team sent out a panic alert, but by the time help arrived, the camp was empty. The only thing left was the small black device. It had burned itself out. Later, Zyari scientists studied it. The language on the device wasn't human. It was pre-galactic. A lost language used only by the first star empires, the kind of civilizations even the Zyari feared. And the message buried inside the device was even more terrifying. Earth is not what it seems. Earth is not alone. Protocol waking complete. The meaning was clear. Earth had hidden its true power. For how long? No one knew. But now the mask was off. More signs followed. Strange satellites rose from Earth's surface, black, silent, older than any human machine. They moved on their own, using gravitational pulses, not fuel. Each satellite locked onto a Zyari ship. And watched, they didn't attack, not yet. But their presence sent a message. We see you now. Vexar was shaken. Came to conquer animals, he said quietly. But we found something else. He didn't say it aloud, but in his heart he knew. They hadn't discovered Earth. They had awakened it. The Zyari Empire had always believed in fear. On every planet they conquered, they made one rule clear: resist and be erased. But Earth was not following the rules. After the first failed landing, the loss of ships, and the strange broadcast, from the surface the Zyari were shaken but not ready to give up. Commander Vexar ordered a small camp to be built on the dark side of the moon, far from Earth's atmosphere, far from the hidden weapons. There in the cold shadows, The Zyari prepared their next move. They brought their best minds. Scientists, strategists, war leaders, they believed the moon base would be safe. They were wrong. On the third night, alarms rang through the base. Life form detected inside perimeter. Guards rushed out, weapons ready, but when they reached the edge of the base, they froze. A human was walking straight toward them. No armor, no ship, no spacesuit, just walking on the moon's surface, as if the laws of space didn't apply. Eyes glowed faint blue, like something ancient had been placed inside him. He held no weapon, it's just a small black device, different from the last one. "Take him down," shouted the lead guard. They fired, but nothing happened. Their weapons jammed. Lights blinked off. Drones dropped from the sky again. It's like falling leaves. The human walked into the camp like he owned it. The soldiers tried to tackle him, but their suits locked up. One by one, they collapsed to the ground, stuck in place. The human kept walking. He entered the command room, where 10 Zyari officers stood waiting. Commander Vexar was there, face filled with anger, but also fear. "What do you want?" he shouted. The human placed the device on the table. It glowed. Then it spoke not with the human's voice, but with something else.
Something much.
OLDERA deep. Calm voice echoed through the room. Zyari command. "You are operating in violation of Protocol 9. This world is legacy protected. Leave now, or be dismantled." Vexar's mouth opened, but no words came out. He recognized the voice. Every high-ranking commander did. It was the voice of the old Koja system, built by the first galactic powers. Long before the Zyari ever reached the stars. A system so ancient and powerful that even the Empire was forbidden to break it. But Earth wasn't on the protected list. It was supposed to be primitive. And yet here was a human. Using the codes, the device glowed again. It showed a hologram of Earth. Thousands of red points lit up across the planet, hidden facilities, energy cores, deep vaults. Some were under oceans. Others in deserts, some even under ice. All of them. "Now active," one officer whispered. "They've been preparing." Another said, "No, they've been waiting." The human finally spoke. His voice was clear. "Calm, not threatening," he said. "We did not forget what you did to the others." The room fell silent. Then the human turned and walked out. The soldiers couldn't stop him. No one could move until he was gone. Outside, the ground shook from deep under the moon's surface. Something massive began to rise. It wasn't Earth's. Doing it was already there. Buried for who knows how long, a hidden moon base began to wake. Its systems powered up with blue lights, surface opened like flower petals, and inside, ancient weapons turned toward the Zyari fleet above. The human was no longer in view. He had disappeared as silently as he had arrived. Commander Vexar stared at the glowing map. He understood now. The humans were not rising. They were returning, and whatever power had protected Earth had been here long before humans ever built cities. That power had just decided to defend again. The Zyar Empire had lost patience. After the human visitors shut down their moon base and ancient warnings echoed through their systems, Commander Vexar had only one thought left. If Earth wants war, we will show them fire. From orbit, he launched the order. 12 Zyari warships armed their strongest weapons, planet breakers. These bombs could crack a moon or level a city with heat and pressure. No civilization had survived them before. This was not a warning shot. This was meant to end Earth. The bombs were dropped from high orbit, black, silent cylinders falling through Earth's atmosphere like falling stars. On the ground, people watched them streak across the sky, but something strange happened again. The bombs began to slow down, not because of Earth's gravity, but because the air pushed back. Not wind, not resistance. It was something else. Each bomb started to vibrate, then twist, then disappear. One by one, the bombs vanished before hitting the ground. No sound, no flash, gone. Vexar stared at his screens. No impact. he asked. None, said a technician, hands shaking. They didn't explode. They just stopped existing. Then came the real shock. In the middle of the Pacific Ocean, a huge ripple appeared on the surface. The water didn't explode. It parted like something ancient was rising from beneath. Cameras caught it. Satellites tried to zoom in. What rose was not human. A massive black shape, smooth and silent, rose from the deep sea. It looked like a ship, but not one built by Earth's current technology. It was round, glowing faint blue, and had no windows. No weapons. And yet, every Zyari ship felt it. Their systems began to fail again. Power dropped. Shields broke. The object pulsed once and 3 of the Zyari ships shut down completely. They started falling toward the atmosphere like dead birds. "What is that thing?" shouted Lurik, the second in command. Earth didn't answer. Then, from below the oceans, more objects rose. Dozens. Hundreds. Small drones, large ships, even floating platforms. All ancient, all glowing. They surrounded Earth like a silent shield. And none of them responded to Zyari hails. They simply turned to face the orbiting fleet. Back on Earth, the humans didn't panic. Some of them fell to their knees, crying. Some watched the skies in silence. Deep underground, leaders watched and said the same words. It's awake. The silent protocol had completed Phase 2. Earth was no longer reacting. It was now defending. The Zyari, desperate, tried one last move. They fired a full barrage lasers, plasma missiles, kinetic rods. They rained fire on the blue planet, but none of it reached the surface. The ocean-borne objects activated a strange, field-like bending space itself. The attacks vanished in midair. Then, the Earth responded not with words, but with action. The ocean ship, the first one that rose, flashed once. The flash was not bright, not loud, but in space. Every Zyari ship stopped moving. Their weapons locked. Their engines froze. The entire fleet became a graveyard in orbit. Commander Vexor sat in darkness. The lights gone on his bridge. Only one screen still worked. It played a short video. It showed stars, galaxies, then a circle of 10 worlds. Burned and broken. A voice said, "This is what happened the last time someone tried to take Earth." The screen went black. In the silence, a second message appeared. "Do not return. This is your only mercy." Vexar knew it was over. They didn't face just humans. They had awakened something older, something left behind to protect Earth. If the old war ever returned now. That guardian was awake again, and it would not sleep soon. For 3 full Earth hours, the Zyari fleet floated in silence. Their ships were dead, their weapons frozen, their commands ignored. No one in the galaxy had ever seen the Zyari defeated like this. Commander Vexar sat quietly on his darkened bridge. His screen showed only one line: "You are not allowed here." Then Earth spoke again. But this time, it wasn't a warning. It wasn't even human. Across every communication channel, military, civilian, encrypted, an opener voice came from Earth. A voice not made by any living being, it said. "This world is under legacy protection. Violation means extinction." The voice was deep, layered, and calm. It sounded like 1,000 voices speaking as one. All across the galaxy, others heard it too. In deep space, listening stations recorded the message. On distant worlds, ancient species looked up in fear. Some recognized the voice. It had not spoken. For thousands of years, it belonged to a system known in old myths only as the Guardian Code. Even the most advanced civilizations had no record of where the Guardian Code came from. Only that it appeared when certain worlds were placed under silent watch, never explained, never contacted. Those planets were marked as untouchable. And now, Earth had joined that list. But why? Earth was supposed to be a young world, divided, chaotic, not a galactic power, so how could it call the Guardian Code? Some believed Earth had found something buried. Others whispered that Earth wasn't just human, held secrets from a time before the stars had names. Meanwhile, On Earth, something strange was happening. In ancient ruins, hidden under forests, deserts, and oceans, machines began to wake. Old machines. Some were no larger than insects. Others were massive towers hidden deep underground. All of them began sending signals upward. Into space, they were not weapons. They were beacons. Signals to faraway places. Ancient coordinates that no longer appeared on any current star maps. The silent protocol had entered Phase 3. Outreached, and now someone out there was answering. Back in orbit, Vexar received a final message. It showed a map, not of the stars, but of his own empire. One by one, red dots appeared across Zyari space, hidden, human probes, cloaked ships, silent watchers. Some had been there for centuries. The message ended with just 5 words. "We have always been watching," Vexar stood. From his command chair, his hands shaking. All this time, the Zyari believed they were the hunters. But Earth had been the observer. The moment they attacked Earth, they hadn't started a war. They had broken a rule. A very old rule. And now, they weren't just fighting humans. They were fighting a legacy. At that same moment in the Galactic Council Core, alarms began to ring. The Guardian Code's voice had reached their oldest archives, an elder species known as the Solarians, the first ones to reach SpaceSat in silence. Watching Earth's image grow brighter on their holoscreens, one of their leaders whispered, "They've returned." Another asked, "Do we contact them?" The elder replied, "No, not yet. Not unless they call us." The room fell quiet. For the first time in centuries, the galaxy felt cold. Earth was no longer a forgotten world. It was something else. Now, a warning, a signal, a sleeping power. No one dared to touch again. Commander Vexar's fleet was broken. Their weapons were useless. Their pride had turned to fear. But the Zyari Empire was not done yet. When the homeworld received his silent emergency signal, they didn't hesitate. They gathered a second fleet 3 times larger, with heavy dreadnoughts, shield breakers, and elite warlords. They believed Earth had used tricks, old machines, warnings, but no true galactic force could stop them. They would crush Earth and remove the stain of shame. The second fleet opened a wormhole just outside Earth's solar system, a shortcut, a surprise attack. But when they came out, on the other side, they did not find space. They found warships, Earth warships, silent, black, smooth, and sharp. Like blades of obsidian. There were only 5 of them, but they were already waiting. How? How did they know we'd be here? Whispered the Zyari fleet marshal. Before he could order a scan, the human ships moved, fast, too fast. One of the Earth ships blinked, literally disappeared, and reappeared behind the Zyari dreadnought. A single pulse of light. The dreadnought exploded from within. No flames, no fire, just implosion. Like its very atoms were reversed. The rest of the Zyari fleet opened fire in panic. Hundreds of beams flew through the dark void, but none touched the Earth. Ships, their forms shifted, not cloaking, not speed, but like space itself bent around. Then the battle didn't last 10 minutes by the time it ended. 70% of the Zyari reinforcements were gone, and Earth had taken 0 damage. The last surviving ship tried to escape back into the wormhole, but it couldn't. The wormhole was gone. Closed? No. Way home. Then a human voice came over the comms. Simple.com/clear. Your empire sent you to die. Don't blame us. Back on the Zyari homeworld, panic began to spread. News of the Second Fleet's defeat couldn't be hidden. For the first time in centuries, civilians were told to prepare for invasion. But Earth didn't attack. They didn't send demands. They didn't show their face. Instead, they sent one small probe. It hovered over the capital city of the Zyari Empire, and then it projected something into the sky. A map of their entire empire, every fleet, every secret base, every trade route, glowing for all to see. Then one by one, red X marks began to appear over the fleets. Destroyed, vanished, neutralized. In just 12 hours, Earth had dismantled the Zyari's greatest strength. But still, no message. No war, just silence, as if Earth was saying, "We could end you, but we won't. Not yet." The galaxy watched in shock. Species that once feared the Zyari now turned away from them. Alliances broke. Trade collapsed. Their empire was falling. And Earth did not take land, did not ask for surrender, did not celebrate. It simply moved its ships into deeper space. No one knew where they were going, but everyone knew one thing now. Earth was no longer just a planet. It was a power, a silent one, a patient one, and no one dared to stand in its way again. The Zyar Empire was collapsing. One by one, their fleets were being destroyed. Not by war, but by fear. Worlds stopped answering the Empire's calls. Governors ran. Soldiers refused to fight, and Earth still said nothing. No message. No demands. No voice, just silence. But there was one survivor, a Zyati named Kaleka, senior officer from the Second Fleet. He had escaped the battle near the wormhole, barely alive in a damaged pod. His ship was gone. His crew was gone. He drifted for days, alone in space, till a strange signal caught him. It wasn't a rescue beacon. It was an invitation. He followed it to a black sphere floating. It's just outside Earth's solar system. No lights. No weapons. Just one word glowing on its surface. Enter. Kolek had no choice. He was pulled inside by a silent force. He expected death, but what he found inside was memory. Not human memory. Not machine. Something far older. A soft white room surrounded him. Images appeared in the air. Galaxies, old wars, empires he had never seen in history books. Then a voice spoke. Not human. Not alien. Just clear. You came to destroy what you did not understand. So now you will understand. And Kalek saw the truth, not in words and visions. He saw Earth. Before humans, a garden world, empty but powerful. Watched by beings of light, builders of the Guardian Code, the first civilization. They seeded life across the galaxy but Earth. They protected because Earth held something special, something deep, something living as ages passed. Humans were born, the builders vanished. But their systems stayed hidden, watching, waiting, until Earth was ready to stand. And now it had. The voice continued, "The Zyari are not the first to try, but they may be the last." Kalek fell to his knees. The truth shattered his training, his pride, his loyalty. The Empire was nothing compared to what Earth had been part of. When Kalek was returned to his people, he was no longer the same. He told everyone, the generals, the senators, the citizens, we were never the strongest. We were blind. Earth is not rising, it is remembering. At first they called him mad, but then more messages appeared. Old structures on distant moons began to glow. Other species, once silent, began to speak of Earth in reverent tones. Ancient allies of the first civilization slowly returned, and they stood with Earth. Kalek's words spread. Like wildfire, he was no longer seen as a soldier. He was seen as a messenger. Warning the Empire couldn't kill him, because deep down they feared. He was right. One truth now echoed across every system. Earth is not alone. Earth was never alone. And in the center of the storm, Earth remained quiet, watching, waiting, and ready. The galaxy no longer feared the Zyari Empire, because the Zyari no longer spoke. Their fleets were gone. Their leaders had vanished. Their citizens whispered the name of Earth like a curse and a prayer. Some believed Earth had ended the Empire, but the truth was far more terrifying. Earth had let them live, not out of mercy, but because Earth had no interest in revenge. It had something else to do. For months, Earth remained quiet, but something was happening under the surface beneath oceans. Inside mountains, deep in the shadows of forgotten places, machines moved. Old gateways reactivated. One by one, Earth's ancient systems connected. Not just to each other, but to the stars. And then, without warning, the sky changed. All across Earth, great spires rose tall, glowing towers that reached into space. Beams of light shot from them into orbit, linking to a massive ring forming around the planet. This was no weapon. It was a launch system. Humanity wasn't hiding anymore. It was returning. On the day it began, people across Earth gathered and looked up. Not in fear. Not in confusion. In understanding, they saw it now. The strange dreams. The old myths. The unexplained ruins under their cities. Earth had always been part of something greater. And now, that part was awakening. The first fleet. Launched quietly. No flags. No speeches. Just one signal broadcast across the stars. We remember. We return. The ships weren't like those from other empires. They were built with old designs, powered by gravity pulses and living cores. Silent, smooth, unstoppable. Each. One carried humans, but also something more. The legacy of the first. Civilization. And they didn't go to conquer. They went to connect old. Allies across the stars lit up beacons. Ancient worlds once believed lost, now came alive again. And at the center of it all was Earth. From the shadows, humanity stepped forward, not as rulers, not as invaders, but as heirs. The galaxy watched in silence. The species who had mocked Earth's wars, its slow rise, its chaos now, sent messages of alliance, or stayed, quiet out of fear. Even the most powerful governments didn't move against Earth, because behind every human voice, they heard another, the Guardian Code, still active, still watching, and now, walking again. 1 year later, a new Star Council was formed. At its center sat a human, not a king, not a warrior, just a speaker. He stood and said, "We do not come to rule, we come to warn. There are worse things than war. And we remember them." No one interrupted, no one doubted, because they had all seen what Earth could do. When it was silent, now it was speaking again, and the stars were listening.